Hello there, folks, and welcome to A Pint and Two Shots. It's a podcast. It's a football podcast, and for the last 2 weeks, we haven't been here. However, we're back. Stephen and Grado aren't here, though, so I'll introduce you to my special secret mystery guest co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tam Cowan.
How you doing, Chris? You alright?
All right, mate. Thanks very much for doing this. You've pulled me out a hole.
Well, not a problem, because the Grado and Stephen Purden will go on the record as saying the pair of them forgot to get my name down on the press night for the pantomime at the Pavilion. They're going to be mortified by that. So we'll be standing in for them the day. I'm just going to say, look, I want to pick any show I want to come to. Me and the family, you better square us up with tickets. I think that's fair enough.
But it doesn't need to be like any of their shows. It could be like Metallica at Hampden.
Oh, exactly. I don't want to go and see them in the Pavilion. The pantomime is consistently poor. If I want to see a good panto, I'll go to the Kings or something, or through to Edinburgh and see Big Grant Stott and Alan Stewart. But so I'm absolutely fine. But it's a pleasure to be with you anyhow.
Thanks very much.
You've been carrying the two of them anyhow for how long now?
How do you think I'm this height?
Exactly.
There you go. We'll get that first height joke in before Tam absolutely fucking.
Oh no, no one of my co-hosts. No, that was only when I was a guest and we were doing it lovely. Greenup, that was a great venue, wasn't it? What a great crowd.
I was saying that night, Greenup gets a bad name, but it looked like the Riviera.
Right, it was lovely. It was stunning. There was great parking. There was a fantastic. What brand was it? The pizza shop?
Domino.
I got a lovely pizza.
You turned up with a Domino's, didn't you?
And it was superb, you know. And what was good as well, I mind seeing when I went home that night, because I don't think I've actually. I saw you once since then. When we did a low rent podcast thing for other people. But when I went home that night for Greenock with you, and I says to my missus, because she's met both Grado and wee Stephen, I says, I was on Grado, Stephen, Chris Toll. Who's Chris Toll? So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to show you.
Right.
So guess what I showed her on YouTube? One of my all-time favourite comedy moments, and I salute you.
Was it the Queen of the New Year one for last year?
When you played Susan Cowan.
Well, I'll tell you
in the
something.
bank adverts. Brilliant. I watched that. I keep going on about JFK moments when I'm on the radio and off the ball, but honestly, that was a JFK moment. I was doing it Auchrane, down in the lovely Isle of Arran. We get down there at New Year. It's a brilliant place, great resort, and it was maybe about into New Year's night then, or the early New Year's morning, if you like, maybe about 3 a.m, and I went back, and no matter how much I've had to drink, or anything, I can't just go to sleep right away. Need a wee bit of telly, so I just go to my phone, go to it and catch up all the Hogmanay stuff, and I watched Queen of the New Year, and I was half dozing, right? And then see when you did the parody of the bank adverts with wee Susan, honestly, I was pissing myself. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you something now. I was away filming that last week, Queen of the New Year.
Right, great.
And if you think that was good, you've not seen anything yet.
Oh, right. Is that a you can't tell me though?
I'll show you after.
All right. I keep it in suspense. Because you want everybody
I don't want anybody to
I'm trying
know what
guess.
it is yet.
Right. Can I get a clue? Is it somebody you're parodying or portraying?
Yes. There's more than one actually, but one of them you won't really know who it is, but one of them is very newsworthy.
Oh, right.
To the point where...
A diminutive character?
No.
Oh, no. Right. Oh, that could be funny then. See, it could be a bit like the twins. Like
Aye, exactly.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Aye, right.
So it's I was away filming that last week. I was out 4 days, and it's all... There's the mainstays, Rab and Greg and Paul McCall and that.
Aye.
And Barbara Rafferty's in it again this year.
Touch of class. Barbara's always brilliant.
Mate, she is the nicest person.
She's
honestly.
Great. Brilliant woman.
But there's a lot of new talent in this year. A lot of young, up-and-coming Scottish comedy talent. Good. And they're really good, man. Good. So looking forward to it coming out.
You know what, though? I'm not just blowing smoke up your backside, but I might watch the new one, or I might just watch last year's repeat.
No, I'm telling you this.
It was great.
You need to see this new one.
Did anybody get any comeback for Susan Cowan after?
No, there wasn't any.
Because I can't work out if she would have absolutely loved it or if she would have absolutely hated it.
Well,
I don't think she'd have sat in the fence with it, shall we say.
I've never met Susan, so I can't comment to her personality or anything like that. But the feedback that I was getting was a lot of folk thought that she wouldn't be too pleased about it. But
yes, that's where I was siding towards.
well,
shall we
do you
say?
know what? See if you're a comedian and you can't take a
Oh,
joke, then
exactly.
you need to.
You know,
go
I say that I've said that for years. See when folk online or anything like that, or texts or emails into our show or anything like that, see if folk are fit my message board, see if they want to slag me or slag my shows or slag a gig that I've done or anything like that. Great, but have a proper go at me, have a laugh, have a joke.
And don't get offended when I come back at you.
Exactly, that's what it's all about. I really, and I'm sure a lot of folk tuned into this will agree. I didn't have a name as such for my show at the Edinburgh Fringe in the summer there, right? Mm-hmm. And when I go back next year, I think what I'm going to call it is, and there'll be no asterisks, but I'll need to put asterisks in the poster, obviously. I'm just going to call next year's show Tam Cowan, take a fucking joke. And right, because that's increasingly, I keep saying it every gig I do now, Chris. I keep saying I'm no wanting to offend them. There's nothing to be gained by offending them. If you offend somebody on a podcast, genuinely offend them, they're not going to watch you again.
No,
if you
exactly.
offend them on the radio, they'll switch channels. If you offend them in the newspaper, I'm not buying that again. Right? So it goes on and on and on. So you can keep well away from all the isms, the sectarianism, racism, sexism. You don't need to do all that, but take a joke.
Aye.
In this world in which we live now, if there's one thing we need, it's a bloody laugh.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, like,
that's another reason for me not going to the pant. I need a laugh.
I get
Life's
chased
too
up.
short.
I get chased. Hey, you. I get chased up the other day for Scott for the pavilion. He had posted a picture. It was his new gaff and stuff like that. So I texted him. I was like, "Gaff's looking class." He's like, "We're having a flat warming party after the panto on Friday. You going to the panto?" And I'll be honest with you, it completely went out of my mind.
Right.
But I'll be there.
Good.
So.
Well, I must say as well, all joking aside, I couldn't have, that's how I was kidding on me, Grado and Stephen, because I clearly, the press night, as we sit here on a Thursday, the press night is tomorrow night, which is Friday night, and I've got a gig on myself. Right, I always thought press nights used to always in any theatre or any sort of show used to be kept for the start of the week.
Aye.
And the reason being, let's say they give 50 tickets out of the press, you could give them away on a Monday or a Tuesday night, whereas you could pack the place out on a Friday. So anyhow, it was a clash of dates, but the boys will sort me out for another time. And I genuinely love, I don't know about yourself, but I go to them all. I'll go to any of them. And while my daughter, who's 14 and a half now, before she starts thinking, no, I'm too old to go and sing along at the panto and cheer and all that, no, because a funny age for it. I don't mind sharing this way, but I was high as a kite. I thought, right, I'll fire in and do it because I was buoyant still after the Scotland-Denmark game last week, right? And the Wednesday, I thought, right, take responsibility, Cowan, right? You're meant to be a parent. So I sat my daughter down in the kitchen last Wednesday for the old birds and the bees chat, right? Well, Chris, some of the fucking things she told me. Honestly. Where did they get it for? 14 and a half.
I know.
I was so naive at that age.
I know. I thought it was for passionate at that age. Know what I mean?
But honestly, but anyhow, so I'll be taking my wee lad. She still loves the pantos, and but it was only last year was the first year where she didn't ask me because she knows that I would always know the folk that are up on the stage. Last year was the first year she didn't ask for a mention. See when they came out, maybe about last quarter of the show.
That's the first step. She's starting to get to that age.
Oh, redneck dad, you know. So.
I bet she'll still go to the shows, you know what I mean?
She'll still go, aye.
I messaged them, I says to them, I says, listen, I don't mean to be a pest, I says, but would it be possible if I could have a +2 so I can bring my boy with us as well? Aye, no bother at all, get the email, 3 tickets. So I texted me, man, I was like, we're going to the panto on Friday. He's like, aye, if I'm back for the basketball in time. Basketball, mate.
Right.
No, he's the same stature as me.
Oh, is he?
Aye.
I was going to ask you that.
Aye, no, he's taller. He's actually taller. He's taller than me.
And was that a given?
No, it's 50-50, Tom.
Is it? Right.
Aye, it's 50-50, and that was it. It was like, as soon as I seen the scan, I was like, oh, I know what you are.
Right.
You're the same as me.
Right. Oh, well.
But listen, it's never held me back, so and I'll never hold him back either. He's cut for the same cloth, definitely.
Aye.
Aye, but we'll be there on Friday. So if you're struggling, I might have a spare.
Aye, I love. No, the other thing as well. See, when you get in, I've got two firm beliefs. Any time, as long as there's still a feeling of festive stuff in the air, I will go to any panto anytime, right? And that includes that lovely week that I always love for some reason, mainly because I don't tend to be full at it 100%, gives you a wee bit of a breather. But the week between Christmas and New Year, brilliant. But then there's a really strange thing, and this is where
you're talking about that week when you don't actually know what day it is.
Aye. It's like being back at COVID, you know what I mean? And you think, what was this Thursday? Is it Monday? What is it? But the other thing that I find strange with the pantos, and I've said this to folk that are in it, I've said to the bosses, the panto theatre bosses, and Grado and Stephen, the pavilion one goes right through to something like the 20-something of January. And there was 1 year, for example, I think it was just called Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And you're watching that on the 19th of January and you're thinking, I'm ready to buy Easter eggs here. You know, it's quite strange. I think they should keep it. I know, don't get me wrong, they pack the places out. It makes a lot of money for the theatre and, dare I say it, for the good boys and girls that appear in them, then it's a nice wee chunk of money.
Absolutely.
Grado said there was a bit in it. They said the Waynes, when they get their presents, and Grado's gone, they've already had their presents.
Is that no you and Cameron that says that? It was you and Cameron. He was talking about it, and he says, like, you're singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town like a week after Christmas and all that. And it's
I know, there's certain things I know, and it's kind of gone. And see, when you think it as well, I think to really enjoy a panto, I think if you're a kid, you shouldn't be thinking, this is great tonight, but I've got school tomorrow. It should be on the Christmas holidays. And then it's like, happy 100%. Days.
I know, but I'm looking forward to it. It should be.
I mind you used to talk about football in this now and again.
Did we? I don't think we've ever fucking spoke about football.
31 years a day and off the ball at the BBC. See if I can no talk about football. It's
you found the right place.
And you get folk, we're looking, he's out promoting his one-man show, the new Gregor Fisher.
Yep.
Right? And we're, it might even be this week. I'm a bit behind, but it's either this week or next week we're going to get Gregor on the show. And when we're getting him booked up, his first admission right away was, I know nothing about football.
Aye.
And I'm like, well, great, join the club, you know what I mean? Because if you'll never hear me or Stuart Cosgrove sitting in a show talking about
tactics,
3-5-2 formations. Leave that to the manager, leave that to the players and the, dare I say it, the so-called experts, the guys that think they're just like you or I, sitting there watching the game, but they think they know. I would get bored off my tits talking about stuff like that.
So would I. But you see, the thing is as well, like, I don't claim to be any sort of fucking expert on football, you know what I mean? But see that do you get a fair bit of abuse for folk like that? You don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Oh, you get that. I mean, you'll get. Well, I get a strange thing as well. Where I go in, where me and all my pals who've been going collectively together for don't know how many years, the same bunch of pals. We used to stand what is now the Cooper stand at Fir Park behind one set of the goals. When that was the open terracing until the stadium get renovated and done up, we stood there for years and years and years. And then when we knew that, look, it's going to be all seater, we need to get a seat, we were sensible enough to say, come on, we'll try and get a wee block of seats in the main stand near the halfway line, and then we've always got a good view, right? Mm-hmm. And it was the smartest move we ever made, right? But I then enter that main stand, the Phil O'Donnell stand at Motherwell. But see the amount of times, because that's the same bit, kind of the players' entrance, the VIP, you've got the complimentary ticket gate and all that.
One of the times that I went to the game, like G4 are obviously Motherwell sponsors, so Nicole got us tickets for the game, and I didn't know what entrance they went. I walked right in the fucking tunnel. What? Right, and all the Celtic players, the Celtic players are standing there.
So you went in the main doors at the front,
and nobody stopped me.
Aye, exactly. But they'd have thought you were James Forrest. That's why. I think he's entitled to get in. But when I then the amount of times this has happened, it might be one of the guys that's coming to watch the game that day, like a scout for another team, but it's a guy that I've known or he's been on our show or it could be anybody at all, right? But a well-kent face in Scottish football. But as I'm heading in and I'm fumbling about taking out used to be the season book, which I preferred, but now it's all fucking
what voucher is it today?
Exactly, that was great. I kept all of mine. I got my first season ticket for Motherwell when I was 10, right? And it was my birthday present that year in April, so it was a season ticket for the following year. And I've had one every year since, but I've always renewed it, right? And incidentally, the reason I would always have one, and it takes me into this story, is, see if anybody, you're saying about MD Jarney, what do you think you are saying that? But I say, look, the only right I've got to speak about football is that I'm a paying supporter, and I pay my way in. When I watch Motherwell home and away, when I'm able to get away because of the radio and that, I always pay in, and then that gives me a clear conscience for saying anything I want about the game because I'm a paying customer, right? But on that note, then when amount of times I've been heading in to get through the gate, I go in, and I could be speaking to him, and he say, "All right, Tom, right, you gonna? I thought you'd been in. I thought you'd been in the VIP." And I says, "No, I'm a Motherwell fan. I come with my pals and I pay my way in, and then you can sit there and I can shout and do anything that you want."
You must sit right next to the VIP bit, because I was in the VIP bit and you walked by me.
Aye, there. So we just sit we're about 4 rows up for the dugouts, right? And what I've always said for years, Chris, and you'll appreciate this, right? If the game's gash, right, and let's be brutal, I mean, we're being spoiled rotten this season. Obviously, some of the football's been incredible, but I have seen so much utter rubbish at Motherwell, right? But I always say that in that position, if the game's rotten, you always get the pantomime, to go back to that word again, with what's happening down at the touchline. It might be in the away dugout, it's coaches or whatever that have never been popular with the Motherwell fans, and they're gain it out, and maybe even they're gaining it back. Or if it's and we've had a few of them down through the years, if it's a Motherwell fan that the punters are wanting out, and they're getting tanked a bit, a bit of a sweetie wife. But sitting there watching that soap opera rather than what's on the park when the football's been rotten, it's a great seat. I wouldn't switch it.
There's entertainment even if it's not on the pitch.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
The night I saw Jim Jeffries when he was at Kilmarnock, then Jim Jeffries and wee Billy Brown in the dugout, and there was a young Motherwell fan that sits just along for us. Well, this wee guy should have gone in to be an Olympian shot putter, right?
Aye.
He had one of the right big cups of Coke, right? The biggest ones you can be able to buy, right? And Jim Jeffries, who had a unique relationship with the Motherwell fans, shall we say, hated each other, right? Motherwell fans hated old Jim, and Jim hated the Motherwell fans back, right? So when we were coasting against Kilmarnock, we were beating them quite easily, and Jim's still getting riled by the Motherwell fans and everything's happening. Well, this young guy, honestly, for about, literally, must have been for like 100 feet away.
Aye.
You get the big Coke full, and he chucked it, and honestly, it missed Jim Jeffries' chin by a whisker. And see when it landed on the touchline, it was like there was about 4 gallon in it, right? It was what, and I caught it with me, and I thought it was brilliant. Worst one like that, can I tell you? This still gives me the shivers. Wait, we were up to see Motherwell, Brecon City, Glebe Park, against Motherwell.
Is that where the hedge is?
Yes, League Cup game. So you're talking August, probably. It might have been early season, League Cup tie-up at Brecon City. And Craig Brown was the manager at the time, just trying to place the kind of year, which doesn't really matter. But a woman I know, she's gone to Motherwell games all her life, and I know her, I can see her now. She was behind the goals during the warm-up, right? So we're all standing kind of behind the goals. I was just behind her. We're all behind the goals during the warm-up. The players going through their paces 15 minutes before kick-off. And it was John Sutton. You remember John Sutton, right? John Sutton had a shot at goal during the warm-up, right? And he blasted this ball, right? It missed the goals, right? And just as that woman had her piping hot Bovril right up like that, taking a mouthful, the ball smacked her, and you know how hot Bovril is, the hottest substance known to man, right? No matter,
it really is.
It's basically boiling water with an OXO cube.
You buy one at the start of the game, and you can maybe take a wee drink about 3/4 through the second half.
Exactly. And this woman, you know what, Chris? To this day, the ball just blasted. The Bovril. I could still now hear her screams.
Aye.
And the medic, the first aid guy, whatever it was, came right round, and it was all bloody whatever. I think even the stuff that they maybe had for one of the players going down to get for the physio, maybe a bit of ice, anything to cool this poor woman's face down. Horrible. So that's a lesson though. During the warm up, during the game, always watch.
I've got a story like that actually. It was Celtic versus AC Milan,
right,
at Celtic Park, Champions League, and Milan are warming up now. We sat behind the goals the north stands on the right hand side. So see where the away fans are.
Aye.
I was behind the goals on that side, right where the away fans are, and they're keeping the ball up and they're hitting shots and all that. And Pirlo gets the ball, right, and I'm like that, just watching. But my dad's fucking on his phone or whatever, and Pirlo hits a shot. Now I need to preface this by telling you that my dad, this was the first game he had went back to after having a brain surgery.
All right.
He had a brain hemorrhage, and this was his first game back.
Right. So it didn't work. I thought he'd have gone to Motherwell. He'd have said, "Oh, I'm back. The brain's working again."
So I'm watching the thing with the warm up at my dad's no, and Pirlo hits a shot, right, and I can see it in slow motion, Tom. I can see it in slow motion, and the guy in front of us jumped up and put his hand up and stopped the ball that away from my dad's head.
Wow.
And it would have killed him. It would have killed him. Aye. And another one was, it was an old firm game, and this is a belter, right? So it's half time, you know what it's like, the fucking Rangers fans are getting it on, and the Celtic fans are getting it on. And me and my dad just standing, looking at the Paradise Windfall draw, we're looking to see if we've won the draw. The next thing my dad goes, "Oh, you fucker." And he turns round and he looks, and as he turns round to me, his back to me, and there's a steak pie sliding down the back of his jacket.
Somebody's launched, aye.
Right, but I've been like, who's done that? And I've looked up, and straight away, it must have been Kismet, man. Me and the guy that's done it have locked eyes, and the guy's like, and I just started pissing myself laughing, and then because I started laughing, he started laughing, and it was like hands across the water.
Aye.
Do you know?
I can't think of Pirlo or indeed Italy or Italian football without the night that I remember seeing him. And my mucker Cosgrove just loves the guy, right? And we were out to see, and we were doing it for the radio. We were doing a show after the game, but they allowed us to go out for some reason. They must have had money left in the budget, but took us out to see Scotland play in Italy, right?
Aye.
And
Over there?
yeah. And this was the night. I don't know if you remember this, but God Almighty, we're watching it with our own eyes. The ultras and
They had the scooter.
Aye, the scooter.
I remember that night.
And the guys up above, who were clearly had their issues with the guys down below, you'd have thought they were all together,
It was-
like the Union Bears or the Green Brigade. But
Well,
they
that's what it
obviously,
was like, but it was one set of Inter fans and one set of AC Milan
Is that
fans.
what it was?
Aye.
And I've never known that to
Aye,
this
that's
day.
what it was,
But they
aye.
basically, the guys up the top, they go in one of the, what do you call it?
Lambretta?
It's a classic Lambretta, as an Italian machine. But they'd one of them. How did
they get it
that in? You know, you can't tuck that down your soak or something like a firework in. And they chucked it. I saw this. Because I was looking for a wee bit as they're obviously trying to ease it into position. I'm saying, what's that up there? And then they just fucking dropped it.
I know.
And somebody must have been killed. At least one person.
I don't remember reading if anybody was killed, but I remember when it happened, and it's wild, isn't it, man? But it's a different ball game over there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
my mate lives in Uruguay.
Oh,
right,
and
I think it's Racing and Nacional that are the two.
Right, aye.
Right, and they
Mental.
fucking hate each other, right?
Oh, aye.
And my mate's office, he works from home now, right? But his office at the time was right across the road for the stadium.
Aye.
And he said, see, when it was derby games, it was like fucking Beirut outside, like proper, running battles up and down, like fucking axes and all that, trying to do each other. So I think we kind of get away with it a wee bit over
Well,
here.
you know what? And particularly recently, because it's funny you say that, that's the son that we'd brought up recently on our show. We were talking about the great bits of Scottish football, the great areas outside grounds, and it's always for the perspective of you being a visiting fan, a stadium you've gone to watch your team at, and then the aftermath. Now, the places that we kept going back to, and they were all, honestly, they still give me the fear of God to this day. All the places you'd get ambushed at by the home fans. Now, Easter
Hamilton
Road.
Accies is bad, isn't it?
Oh, well, Easter Road used to have a wee, well, it'll still be there. It's like a wee Roman bridge, a wee stone bridge kind of thing out the back, Easter Road, right? And that was your classic. You'd be halfway out of that, and the Hibs fans would just appear, right? At Wheatfield Street outside Tynecastle, there used to be, it's long since demolished, but there was like a big warehouse or a big old distillery or something, and it was a big long lane that you had to walk down, because that's where the main road and the buses were parked for you, right? But again, you get halfway down there, and you'd get jumped, right?
Aye.
And this is a place, and I still get jarred about this because I let it slip years ago. Cosgrove slaughters me. But when I was about 12 or 13 on the supporters bus, and when I was getting back, suddenly all these Hearts fans appeared, and I kid you not, but I was using my noddle. There was an old guy, a right old guy, right walking, and he had a stick, right? Bonnet, overcoat and all that, right? And he's a wee bit infirm, he's hobbling away. I just grabbed it, total stranger, I just grabbed his arm as if I was like his caring grandson and I was looking after him.
You just walked
and
by
everybody went, oh, that was it, you know. And the other place it was for
A wee bit of honour there for the old Hearts
Absolutely,
casuals.
aye. But the other thing was that the hill, as I just called it, which was right outside Pittodrie. See, when you used to go up there for away games, it was like the sound of music. You're up there like one of the Von Trapps, right? And you just hill to go. But on the way out of the game, up in the hill, it was honestly like an assault course trying to get from there to your bus. You could see the bus away down at the bottom, but you would just get jumped. And that was near as well, guys. It was, it was bottles. It was golf balls with nails hammered into them, being used as, but it was mental.
That's wild. Do you know, in all the years I've been going to football, Tom, I've never seen any trouble.
Well,
that's a lie. At one time I went to Hamburg for Celtic v Hamburg,
right,
and the Hamburg fans just chased the full Celtic support into a pen. We get penned in, and I swear to God, mate, it was like something out of a movie, right? Like you're saying there, it was a hill outside Hamburg's old stadium. It was before they had this big new beautiful one, right? George Alberts was still playing for Hamburg.
All right,
I think.
right.
And
was he there before Rangers? Or
Before
Rangers. Where did he go after Rangers?
He went back to Hamburg, I think, did he not?
Right.
Yeah.
He went back.
What a player he was.
Oh, unbelievable.
You know what? There's that thing. I love having a discussion about this, and I like to think it makes you come across as quite level-headed and fair. The player that was maybe with another team, and it might even been a team that you hated, but there was a player that you just thought, oh, he's brilliant. Now, see, when I was growing up, for example, one that I always remember, and there was something about his stature and all that. I'd have been, when I'd watched this guy emerging out the tunnel with his team at Fir Park, the team was Celtic and the guy was Roy Aitken.
Aye.
Now, Roy Aitken, particularly in his international period, he got a lot of flack, right? But what a competitor that guy was. See, when he came out and he'd be up one end of the park to the other, he'd no a bad goal-scoring record. And then he'd that thing, when he did have a charge up the park, he'd all feed the bear, the Celtic fans, you know what I mean? And I just thought, wow. I was a bit like that as well. I'm going to sound... I better watch it because this will be two Celtic ones. But in terms of a guy that had never pulled a Motherwell jersey on, I just thought, Danny McGrain as well. Just what a world class. It's a phrase that gets bandied about far too much now, but when Danny McGrain was in his pomp with Celtic and Scotland, just
there wasn't anybody better than him on the planet.
So let's say for the opposite side of the city,
my favourite Rangers
team, who would you take? Who's the one that you really thought he's the business?
Haley was fucking something else, man. Haley was something else.
He was untouchable for a couple of seasons up here.
But obviously you've got the obvious ones like Laudrup and Gascoigne and stuff like that, but I don't like to say my favourite ever Rangers player, right, but the Rangers player that I always thought kind of went under the radar, never get the respect it deserved. You'll maybe laugh at me. I always thought Papach was a great player.
All right, aye.
You know, that kind of utility player that just get his job done, never done anything fancy, just a right good player.
Another one, a better chalk one in for balance, and one that I remember there, and he's just a guy that I thought, what a player. He was brilliant with Dundee United, and then he really, really, I thought, blossomed at Rangers. He obviously was at Spurs as well, but Richard Gough, you could just about a team around him.
Well, I was watching, funnily enough, it was just after Scotland had qualified, and I went on a wee nostalgia trip, and somebody had uploaded all of the qualifiers for every time Scotland qualified for the World Cup, all the highlights, into one video, and it was the Italian 91. Right, and remember we went 2-0 down against Malta.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
Away from home, and Gough scored 2 goals, and one was a belter of a header and one was a fucking volley.
Aye.
And he's got no right to do it, do you know what I mean?
The header was the late one, was it?
92nd minute.
That was when, try 99. I mean, it's commonplace now with the times added on, but it was ages, because what had happened, that might have been, if it wasn't Craig Brown himself, it was Craig Brown and Andy Roxburgh, right? And what they did, because obviously our plucky opponents, and they were deemed minnows and all that. They were wasting as much time as they could. So they go, we had all the kind of, the boys that carried the hampers in the stand for Scotland, or the young team, right? They instructed them to get, they were like, stand in, ball boys. They tell them get right round the pitch. A minute that ball goes out, get it back in, because they'd every trick in the book, as they were entitled today.
Aye, of course.
If it was us having the lead against Brazil or something, I'd like to think we'd have every trick.
Do you remember when Celtic went to the UEFA Cup final and we played Boa Vista in the semi-final?
Yes, aye.
Boa Vista called all their ball boys in,
Oh, right.
brought them all in. Celtic scored, and then they put them all back out again. It was a time wasting tactic.
I love stuff like that. You never see that now. It'd be clamped down on the media.
It's because all the balls are sitting on the outside of the pitch.
But
now.
then the other way, in terms of wee tricks and all that, mind the time Souness changed the dimensions of the pitch.
That's right, aye.
For a European
That's
game.
right.
And whatever, I'm guessing that maybe this team loved exposing Rangers in this case by maybe wide wingers, so he basically wanted to narrow the pitch, and he did it, and he got away with it.
And who was it that put water into the corners of the pitch, remember, and to get the game abandoned? Who was it?
Was that in Scotland?
I remember they watered the corners of the pitch, and the corners of the pitch froze.
Oh, right.
And the game got called off. I can't even. Can you look that up, Grant?
I can't. Right, here we go.
But anyway, listen.
Good old dirty tricks. That's what you need in football.
Definitely, you don't get any of them anymore.
Exactly.
But listen, Motherwell, talk to me about it.
Aye, it's been quite some season. I'm not going to get what I'm going to say. I'll start with that. The most disappointing, and maybe the only disappointing thing of the season was the absolute flop that was the League Cup semi against St Mirren. And looking back, and particularly most recently looking at that performance against Hibs the other night, I still can't believe how the hell we get pumped 4-1 by St Mirren. No harm to St Mirren. I think they're a decent team. I've got
a good sign, man.
Every bit of respect in the world. I love him to bits. He was great at Motherwell. No stranger to Hampden with us, Stevie Robinson, right? But 4-1. And it's just that we've got a wee kind of thing at Motherwell, Chris, and the fans will tell you, and certainly fans that have gone as long as me, it seems that whenever we get in the spotlight a wee bit, and particularly we've got a big crowd behind us, we've got a hell of a habit of falling flat in our face, right? And that's clearly what happened at Hampden, because I've seen it so many times when it's a game like that, because it was 5:30 on a Saturday night. I thought, oh yeah, beauty, because I finish the radio at 2, so immediately group chat with all the boys. I says, right, I'm out the radio at 2. I'm going to get the whole Wong Chinese restaurant in Glasgow booked, best Chinese restaurant in Scotland.
That's a bold statement.
I
do like the whole Wong, but
I said, I'm going to get that booked. The other reason for getting it booked, they incredibly, believe it or not, foolishly, they still do the lunch menu on a Saturday. I thought that would only be Monday to Friday. You get in Monday to Friday, and indeed Saturday, £21.50 for 2 courses, loads of choice, and you're full as a walk, right? Aye. And a lot of my pals had never been in it, so I thought as well, where it is now in Waterloo Street at corner of West Campbell, dead handy for Central Station. I says, we'll get fed in there, wander down to Central, and on the train down to Mount Florida or Kings Park or whatever, right? And so great. So we had a brilliant day. The food was outstanding. We had time, we dot it into another couple of pubs, and on the train, getting to Hampden. And then, no, for the first time as a Motherwell fan in that situation, the whole day just goes blah, 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 blah.
Aye.
You know, and it was just terrible.
It's amazing how a game of football can ruin a brilliant day.
You know what? Ruins a brilliant day, but you know the best thing sometimes about a game like that, particularly I'm 56 now, you sometimes think, wait a minute, I'm 56 now. Am I getting too old to get worked up about the first time? But see, when something like that happens,
I know exactly
and
what
it
you mean.
gets right into your spleen, and you think, you know what, I quite enjoyed that feeling. It shows that I'm still keen.
You're still
you know,
passionate about it. It's like, you see, you're saying there, a couple of years ago I was like that to myself, right, you need to stop getting so fucking worked up, because you can't change anything. You can't change it. And see, if it's something that you've got no control over, you shouldn't let it get you. But I'll tell you something, it's easier said than done.
Oh, I know. But and the flip side of that, because there'll be folk tuning in and saying, you miserable bastard. You know, just, a season like this, and that's the only game you can talk about. I'm just getting that out the way. I'm just shelving that, right? And when I think about what I've watched in the league this year, now again, I'll chuck in a slight negative there. Obviously, famously, I think we might have got it out our system now, but certainly for the first chunk of the season there, we were going into the lead against teams and then throwing it away, right? And everybody's thinking it's a great what if. when you look at the league table and you think, we could have been actually in top. We could have been up there, you know. Most famously, 3-0 up at Tynecastle. A few weeks into the season, we were doing the radio at the BBC in Edinburgh, which is down near Holyrood, right? So I wasn't even planning, because my mates that I would sit with, and particularly the ones that go to the away games, none of them would get tickets. So I thought, right, I'll finish a show in Edinburgh and I'm going to, boom, scoot right along the M8, because I can go into the BBC in Glasgow and sit and watch all the games coming in with the guys that are doing sports scene at night. And if Mull were up in Aberdeen or up in Dundee, that's great for me on a Saturday. Means that I never miss a game, right? So that was my plan. But I got a lovely wee text for Gary Mackay, Hearts legend, who had heard us on the radio on his way into the Grun. He's an ambassador and he floats about the hospitality lounges now. You know, Tom, I hear, you through in Edinburgh? You want to come to the game? And I says, because he's the ambassador and I'm thinking where he'd be, so I says, look, Gary, I says, I've got my denims and I don't want to turn up like a scruff, and you know, I says, I'm not wanting any meal or anything like that. It'd be great to just come and get a seat. I just come, I'll get you a seat next to us, right? So, cut a long story short, I went there and I was sitting between, this is what made it all the more special and all the better, and I was proud as punch. Gary Mackay was to my left when I'm watching the game. Wee Billy Brown was to my right. He's also an ambassador, so I've known the pair of them.
I thought you didn't go on with Billy Brown.
So that was Jim Jeffries. It was only Jim Jeffries took it up with Mull. Billy Brown played with Mull in the mid-70s, when Willie McLean was there and Craig Brown was the assistant manager. Billy's a smashing wee guy. So is Jim. I've seen Jim many a time since he's
Do you know what Jim Jeffries is? Jim Jeffries is funny.
Oh, aye.
We had him on the show. It's hilarious.
Aye. And you know, he died.
Actually died and brought back.
He died for 7 minutes on the golf course, and basically it's that way. And by the time the 7 minutes, I think, was just the time it took to get the old defibrillator and he died. You know what I mean? And always incredible. I always wonder if that happened, would you be able to? Would you remember anything if you get, you know what I mean?
Some sort of mad powers, but you can tell.
Or were they just like unlocking the pearly gates and then boom, and he came back and you think, oh, fucking dearly.
Do you think you'd be a bit gutted, but because you're literally standing outside paradise and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to find out.
No, because what you would think then is, I'm looking forward to it now when it does happen, because I've known that 7 minutes, I've established that there is the afterlife.
Well, that's it.
Don't know what goes on to that. So anyhow, I was so the Gary Mackay there, Billy Brown there, and it couldn't have worked out better, because famously in that game we were playing like Barcelona 2005, right? And we were 3-0 up in 62 minutes, right? I'll even forget what happened after it, and Hearts came back into it, and end up we were almost lucky to get a draw. But at 3-0, Gary Mackay and Billy Brown, who have seen loads and loads and loads of football in their days, they were just billing and cooing about Motherwell. Billy's making these wee, making all these wee noises, just enjoying it.
Aye.
And he said to me, Tam, I've not seen a team playing like this at Tynecastle since a top European club came here for a tie. You know what I mean? He says, this is incredible, you know? And that was us only getting used to it, because boys like, it was quite funny, I had a laugh with boys like Stephen O'Donnell, who, you know, I've seen Stephen, it's a bit late in the day to try to turn you into a footballer, isn't it? No, you know, but Stephen was trying his best, you know, and there was a wee couple of teething issues. I don't know if you remember the Motherwell Rangers game. We're trying to play out for the back, and Paul McGinn, who's been brilliant at Motherwell, a panic, a misplaced party, he skied it out for a corner anyhow.
But like you say, Stephen problems.
But see now, some of the stuff we're watching, I mean, against Hibs, 797 passes, which is a Scottish record. The previous was set by Barry Ferguson on Celebrity Mastermind. But think of that, 797 passes. Now, the only thing I would say, again, because I think it's always good if you're harsh, right? 797 passes. We won 2-0. I'm looking for at least another couple of goals out of that. And the reason for that, and I'm sure the players knew it, and I'm sure the manager knew it, the fans certainly did. If we'd even got one more goal that night, we'd have jumped above Hibs in the league. Whereas we're levelling points, but the goal difference, we needed one more to jump over them, which would have been great.
That wee section of the league, I think there's 4 teams on 18 points or something like that.
You know what? There's nothing in it.
Like, see what you're saying, Stephen and I were talking about it, 21 points, sorry. Stephen and I were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and Stephen's like, somebody's due a fucking doing. After a proper doing. You know what I mean?
Now, see the other night, because Hibs are no mugs, we went into that, I'm into that thinking, right, we've done well and all the rest of it, but when I'd seen, admittedly, only the highlights of Hibs the previous weekend, and they have got some smashing players right through their team. They're a good team, brilliant support. They came through in their numbers again the other night, and I if you'd have asked me before it, I'd have probably taken a draw. I'd bit your hand off for it, maybe even, right? But we were all over them. It's 71% possession.
It's wild. I've honestly never seen anything like it. Like that. I've been watching Scottish football for nigh on fucking near enough 40 years, right? And there's never been a team, with the exception, I would maybe say Tommy Burns' Celtic, maybe to a lesser extent Ange's Celtic team.
Yep.
There's never been a team that I've noticed that move the ball as fluidly as Millwall are moving it now.
When Rodgers first took over at Celtic,
I
mean, we were playing them up at Fir Park, and we went a goal up, and I still don't. I remember speaking to Keith Lasley about it. We didn't know what Rodgers did next, but he made 2 quick subs early on, like 20 minutes in, 2 quick subs, and suddenly the whole formation changed. And we were like bamboozled.
That game not finished 4-3.
And I don't think did they get the late
Rogic
winner?
Scored
That's
in the
right.
very last minute.
But fair play to, but honestly, and some of the I remember a goal that Celtic team scored against St Johnstone up at McDermott, and it was one that had started at their own corner flag, and a St Johnstone player didn't touch it. Right up the other end. I think it was Dembele maybe scored.
Every player on the team got a touch.
And you know what? I've always said as well, as much as, I'm enjoying clearly watching Motherwell now, but see when a team, and I've had pals like this, to be fair, you might even have done it in Europe, I've had pals, fair-minded, good football fans who support Celtic and Rangers, and see at times when they've been pummeled in Europe, I've had pals that say, you know what, see when I knew whoever it was we were playing, let's say the Liverpool, when did Liverpool score at 7 at Ibrox? Aye. One of my mates, he's never missed a Rangers game for about 40 years. He says, see, we knew we were toast. They were maybe even 2 goals, maybe the third. You know what? He says, I sat back and I was able just to enjoy that. Because they were on fire. They were brilliant. Didn't give us a kick of the ball. And I've done that down through the years. You can watch some right good teams. When I go back to Roy Aitken, God almighty, when we came up, I could easily have been damaged because of this result for the rest of my life because I was so young and impressionable. But we'd come up for the old First Division, and Celtic was one of the first games we played, and a young Champagne Charlie Nicholas was just, he was at the peak of his powers almost. In fact, he hadn't even peaked, but he was just immense. But they came up and they took 7 off us at Fir Park, right? And I only recently found the highlights of that, and see when I watched it, the free flowing Celtic play in that, it's a bit like a goal that I can always enjoy. Hearts fans will hate it. The one at Love Street, the 1-2s for the back, starting with Danny McGrain and all that.
McGrain, McStay.
Just incredible, But
is it McGrain, McStay, McClure, Johnson?
Yes,
the other way about.
Aye. And again, I'm in that opinion. It's maybe a thing as you get a wee bit older as well. If you're playing a right good team, and you know that you're beat, then at least you've spent your money, whether it was cash at the gate or the season book. At least you can enjoy watching a good team. But
there was a point in time when I would go to European games at Parkhead, and we would have Barcelona against us, and I've watched Ronaldinho, and because the games were so close, you've not been able to sit and enjoy. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. Messi, even. I remember I was at a game at Parkhead, and I think it was actually maybe the same game. Messi went off in the first 10 minutes, and he was out for the rest of the season.
Oh,
right. And he's getting off and he's greeting and all that, and all I could think of was, fuck, I don't care if you're the greatest footballer that I've ever seen in my life. Get off the pitch.
Think of the damage you could have done.
Exactly.
I had the opposite side of that with Messi, and it was at Celtic Park, right? I always say to you, I'm not a good neutral at all. If I go out with my pals to watch a game, European games, champion, I genuinely need to have a bet on the game to keep my interest in it. I'm a terrible neutral. I'm a Motherwell fan up there, Scotland fan, and then that's kind of it, right? Other than maybe down near the third tier, but Scottish teams in Europe, no Motherwell, I'll not cheer, that's the wrong word. You can't cheer a team when it's not your team. Cheering's taking it too far, but I don't care whether it's Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Dundee United, Hibs, Hearts, whatever. I want them to win, right? Because I would sooner go out with my pals and watch a Scottish team with a wee midweek game in the telly, a couple of beers and all that.
It's quite good when you've not got a horse in the race.
Exactly. See if it was Anderlecht against Sporting Lisbon, no interest. You know what I mean? But the one time it happened when I went as a neutral, Celtic, they seem to have played Barcelona hundreds of times there for a spell. So it was Celtic, Barcelona was on the horizon at Celtic Park. My missus, she's a journalist, and for years she also did the motoring reviews. She loves her motors for the Sunday Mail. So what happened through that was great. And we used to, I just tagged along. The motoring writers used to get taken away by the motoring companies to these great weekends where all they were meant to do, and it was for about 10 minutes of the weekend to test drive a couple of motors. But where they always took you with your partner was always like Prestonfield in Edinburgh, Glen Eagles, the Fairmont, St Andrews, right? And you get the run of the hotel for the weekend into the spa, and then I'll just sign there, Tam. Drinks, or just sign. It was brilliant, right? But the other wee bonus that they got when Ford Motor Company at the time, if you recall, they sponsored. They were the main sponsor of the Champions League for quite a number of years, right? So my missus would get tickets for Champions League games, and in that period it was invariably Celtic that were qualifying, you know. So she kept saying to me, "Well, I've got tickets here if you want to go." I says, "Look, I can't." And you know that, hey, welcome to Scotland. You know, you don't need to be seen going to a Celtic. I might have known Cowan, Motherwell, Mars, and all that, right? And lo and behold, when I did go to this Celtic Barcelona game, and my wife came with me, and she'd 3 tickets, and we took my neighbour, who's a big Celtic fan. I thought, oh, he'll be delighted, and he'd gone the majority of times anyhow. If it was just 2 tickets, I says, take him. He said he'll be thrilled, you know. And if they were playing maybe a lesser team, it was no real interest to me. I was happy sitting in the pub with a drink, but I thought Barcelona, and I says to my missus, I said, look, I know I always say I can't want any tickets for this, or I don't want to go for a few reasons. I says, but I've never seen Lionel Messi in the flesh. Count me in for that one, right? And then you might remember when this is the game where he didn't even fly into Scotland. He was out, he was injured, he was suspended, something. So he didn't even, I didn't know this. Right. I'm not a student of European football, so I went there expecting to see him. No, don't get me wrong.
It's not as if it was a team full of knobs.
Exactly,
know what I mean?
Oh, the whole team was great. It was a great night. And I must say as well, I would always like to think I'm a very grateful guest. The hospitality and that's a thing I never do. And certainly not at Motherwell when I just sit with my pals, but the hospitality, we were in the Champions Lounge at Celtic Park, and it was what was great for me as well, only guy that I've seen lifting a trophy for Motherwell, Tom Boyd, old pal.
He was a host, was he?
He was a host, and it was that way. It was great. He well looked after us, and it was that way. Chefs everywhere, canapes, all that. And any time, see if you were Tom Boyd's here, and I've got my drink, and I'm talking to Tom. By the time I've turned round, somebody had walked up and topped up my glass. And all that. It was different class, but then of course, Motherwell fan, right? What I was getting then, of course, that night, and I thought, right, I need to balance this out at a later date, because there was guys coming up, all right, Tom. And there was one guy come up, gave me a wee, all right, Tom, knew it. As if, I know you're one of us, really. And I thought, you know what I mean? But of course, that's going to happen. It would have been the same setup at Ibrox, of course. But no, I just that night. And I must say, I'm not going to be too-faced about this. That night as well, as I mentioned, I was wanting the Scottish team, Celtic,
of course,
to do them.
Of course,
you know. But see, just to watch Barcelona and players at that level, it's like a different sport.
I remember getting back. It's funny, I'm looking at that jersey now. It's a AC Milan one with the Champions League badge on the side.
Right.
That that night there, I mean, and going back even further, Juventus, like Del Piero and fucking Trezeguet and all of that. See some of the footballers that I've seen in person, but just by going to these Champions League games, it's mad, honestly. And obviously Rangers fans have got the same thing, but Champions League next season, if Hearts manage to keep it up, I don't think that there's...
Well, I'll remind you that we've got Hearts on Saturday. I'm looking at Motherwell for the Champions League.
Fir Park.
I mean, that league, if you get the league up on your screen again, there's really no much in it at all. Motherwell are 9 points behind Hearts now, and we play them next.
If you've not got a game in hand as well, or is it Celtic that?
But Celtic have got the game in hand. Look, you know what? See at the start of the season,
you've got a game in hand against Hibs though, over Hibs.
Aye, but at the start of the season, I didn't wait until Hearts had scooted well clear. It was only a fun prediction, but I did a wee video, and it as good as went viral in Scottish terms. Where saying that Hearts were about to play Kilmarnock down at Rugby Park, and it was something I'd said on radio that they'd caught on camera. So I posted it after it, and I said I got a feeling that if Hearts go down to Kilmarnock, which everybody says is always a tricky place to go. It's maybe not as tricky in recent times. They're on a terrible run now, but everybody says, "Oh, Kilmarnock and on that pitch." And
turned them over.
I says, if Hearts get down to Kilmarnock and win, I genuinely think they could start buying the silver polish, right? And then they just get better and better after winning down there. So don't get me wrong, the minute Celtic started, deemed to be clawing it a wee bit back. I'll get folk now and only now. Cowan, where's your clip now about Hearts win? But I'll stick by it now. I'm half joking about Motherwell, but there's no much in it at all. But I just think when you look at the overall picture with Celtic this season and of course Rangers, so they've both had the wee kind of recovery, certainly domestically recently, right? But I just look at the personnel and I think that if Hearts can keep up, this was the one kind of caveat I had when I said that I thought Hearts could win the league. If they can keep away for injuries and if they can keep away for suspensions, everything goes back to Dundee United in '83. We're meant to have won the league with 14 players, right? It's a wee bit, that's grown arms and legs down through the years. It was actually closer to maybe 17, right? But what happened for Dundee United that year? You didn't get a player with a broken leg. You didn't get a player who kept getting booked and ended up watching the games for the stand. And that was part and parcel to them winning the league. And I genuinely think that if Hearts can go about their business, I absolutely hope that Motherwell tows them at Fir Park this week.
I think you'll take points off them.
Well, you know what? And it would put us... Right, that is fantasy stuff, but I've just got a feeling that something strange is going to happen in the league this year. For what I've seen of Celtic and Rangers so far, certainly name date will get a better chance.
Well, my thinking is obviously Celtic are in the middle of appointing this new manager.
Yeah. And again, nobody know. There you go. That's another great point. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this guy, he's a bit of a dude. This guy, what if he turns out to be a complete dud?"
Well, I've got a feeling he's going to be Urkashina.
Do you?
Aye, I really do.
Oh, that's a great clip to have in a few months' time.
When he's got a treble in his back pocket.
No, when you maybe calling it right. I'd never. I mean, you got all that. We all know something and we sit next to them at the games. I think they know everything about football and European. I'd never heard of the guy.
Oh no, I'm
I'd never heard of the guy. But he could come in. He could be the next great thing. He could go on to do wonderful.
Have you seen his team's stats?
No.
They've conceded.
You don't got a social life. No, what you've been looking up.
They've conceded more goals than fucking.
Seriously.
They're 7th in the MLS.
Right.
They're like a 7 at the back.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, they score a lot of goals, but this is, I think we've got.
Is that no traditionally Celtic though? Celtic at times, I always said, whenever we played the great Celtic teams, and you thought, oh look who they've got Hartson, Larsson, Sutton. They always seem to be a bit slack at the back, however.
Aye.
And I mind saying at the time, I wish I could do the team talk for Motherwell before a game. The only thing I would say to them, then I'd leave the dressing room. Attack. Because if you sit back, they've got the players that will kill you. But look at some of the Haddies, and they've always traditionally had Haddies at the back.
Aye, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you see, if you look back at Angie's team, you had Starfelt and Carter Vickers. Starfelt get called for everything. I'd have him back.
Aye.
The Bora.
Aye.
You know what I mean? But looking at it, like even going back, what you're saying there, with Anil's teams and Strachan's teams, the game that Jim Hamilton scored the volley for the edge of the box. That was 4 each that game.
It was a stoter.
You know what I mean?
And if you watch that clip back, you can just see it was just as the whistle went, no long after his goal coming out. Neil Lennon gave him a wee clap.
Aye.
Because what a goal, you know.
I think there comes points like I watched one the other day and it was for years and years and years ago, right? And it was Patrick and Bomber.
Right.
Who was he played for Cameroon, but he played in Japan.
Right.
And I think this clip's only recently come out to the point where I actually thought, is that AI? Right, it's a real goal.
Right.
And you want to see this fucking goal, Tam, honestly. Right. And when he scores the goal, you do see like the fans in the background of the opposing team getting it. Aye. Look, when Ronaldo done it at Old Trafford.
I think Liverpool fans traditionally are meant to have been quite good at that.
Aye.
Now, don't get me wrong, they had success coming out their ears. But see, if you look back at that great team, the best team they had by a mile when it was Osuna, Dalglish, Ian Rush and all that, right? There's many a time where an opposing team scored a perler into the cop end. And you would see, because it's not a natural thing for fans to applaud the opposition.
No, definitely
now, maybe
not.
they were always 3 or 4 up at the time, I don't know. But Liverpool fans had a great reputation for that. Very generously applauding an opponent's goal.
There's a few teams like going back, ones that shouldn't have happened. Like Ronaldinho scored a hat trick at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, and he get hooked, he get taken off, and he got a standing ovation for the Real Madrid fans.
All right.
Real Madrid and Barca are as fucking poisonous as you can get.
Well, I don't know who it was that was getting subbed at, but getting back to the non-Messi night that I went to Celtic Park, I witnessed that as well. You're right, there was guys in the main stand there at Parkhead, and as some of the stars, the superstars, get subbed for. You're right, there was a wee bit of recognition for
Remember
them.
when Ronaldo scored the hat trick against Man United?
Old Trafford.
Aye.
Yep, he got it as well. He got the standing ovation going off.
No, the original R9.
The real
original,
Ronaldo.
the real Ronaldo.
The real
Ronaldo.
Aye.
Aye.
I mean, there's been a few times as well. Do you remember Trevor Sinclair scoring the overhead kick for the edge of the box?
Aye.
I think it was against like Colchester or something, Grant. And literally, he scored into the opposing team's fans end,
right?
And a few of them actually stood up, clapping. See when you see a great goal, like Jaron. I go back to this, right? Celtic's Hampden season played against Dundee United. We went 2-0 up. Yeah. Dundee United brought it back. Alec Cleland actually scored for Dundee United that day.
Okay.
And Jaron Nixon scored a goal that nearly put the net into the fucking Hampden stands, right? Screamer.
Right.
And again, I clapped my hands. But
he was a good player, him.
He was a good player, but I get told off that day.
Right.
I get told off. I'm clapping my hands. You fucking clap your hands. I was like, that's some goal, come on now. But I'm guilty of it. See, when I see a right good goal.
You're loath to do it, though. It doesn't feel right. But there we go.
I know. So we've got, obviously, if we're out tonight, we've got European football tonight.
Yes.
We've got Rangers and Celtic and Aberdeen, I believe.
If we're going out tonight, Thursday, I hope they get pumped. If we get out tomorrow, wow, I thought they did Scotland proud. No, I'll honestly, as we sit here on the Thursday, we're sitting here on the Thursday, and I always say that in the BBC all the time. I never try to keep anything for the listeners. Anything that happens off mic or something that's happening with our engineer or that, I always like to tell the listeners at home. So the very fact we're not hiding the fact we're here on Thursday afternoon. But tonight I'm up and got a gig going up in Lochgelly, up in Fife. But tonight's a classic example, and the double header takes its toll with the bevy. I would have been out with a couple of my pals tonight and I'd have watched both. The Celtic and the Rangers game, hard shift with the drink, but I'd have been willing the two of them to win. But again, being a terrible neutral, even though there's an element of non-neutrality there because they're Scottish teams, I would still definitely have a bet tonight. But I think they're toast anyhow. They know it looks like in Europe.
Well, Celtic have. I genuinely believe this, and I get some stick for being a negative Nancy, right? But I don't think Celtic will win another game in the Europa League this season. The teams that we've still got to play are good sides, man.
Oh, I know.
Right, good sides.
And you know what? For all we were excited when you look at these, the new format, more the European competitions. Again, it's just turned into like a bit of Super League, really. Hasn't it? You look at the Champions League.
I think
and it's
that
all
was
the usual suspects.
That was the reaction to the breakaway Super League that they tried to bring in.
They thought, right, here's a wee. As long as you don't rock the boat again, we'll give you this.
Exactly,
you know
but it's good to see, like, for example, Paphos last night.
Right.
2 each. mental. You've got
I'm glad I recorded that, you bastards. No, I wouldn't have bothered with that.
like Kyrat Almaty, they get beat. I think they get beat 3-2. Is that right, Grant? Or the team that put Celtic out?
I'm not sure. I've never
They
seen.
seem to be doing no
Kyrat
bad.
Almaty, that was a defining moment in Celtic's history.
Should
I think that directly led to
Rodgers.
everything
If
at
I'm
the
Rodgers,
AGM.
if I'm Rodgers, I just fucking leave after that.
Kyrat
But
Almaty.
we're doing it. We've not been in since the AGM happened. What was your thoughts on it? What about the complete and utter lack of respect for Lowell?
Well, what I thought was, and again, I always check up with pals that I've got that would support Celtic or Rangers. There's, particularly after I'm about to do a show, there's good ones that I can go to for the right take on events. And I must be honest, one of my mates, Simon, who I spoke to after the AGM, he was one of the many Celtic fans that was convinced that it was a bit of a hatchet job. They were thinking that we just want to bring this meeting to an end. So see this guy, Dermot Desmond's laddie, who appeared from nowhere and you're never going to see him again. We'll get him to call them all bullies and this, that and the other. They'll start getting a wee bit
Rowdy,
kind of
and then we can
rowdy,
cut it off.
and then we'll just say, sorry guys, that's it. Because the anger for me, if I'd have been a Celtic fan at that, there's always fans at these things that have really done their homework forensically, right? And there must have been guys in there that had great killer-diller questions to put straight to the board that would have cut them to the quick.
Aye.
And they didn't get the chance to ask them.
And you're right, it's definitely been manufactured, I feel. And see, when you look at the results for the AGM vote,
Yeah.
there's something not right about it.
Aye.
There's something not right about it, Tom.
Don't get me wrong, and watching it again as a Motherwell fan, it was great entertainment. It was a great clip, but it's a bit like I said, I think it was about 4 years ago now, and boy, the inroads that they've made since. But about 4 years ago, a video was put up of like it was equivalent to an AGM. It was a big meeting at the Enshire Grange Hotel in Grangemouth, and it was with the Falkirk Board of Directors and the management team at the time. It was back to the Gary Holt era, right?
Gary Holt.
And it was all the fans, right? In this meeting, and they posted the whole meeting an hour and a half. You didn't need to be a Falkirk fan. You didn't even need to be able to point to Falkirk in a map of Scotland. It was absolute box office, because this is at the point, look what John McGlynn and the players and the current board have done at Falkirk. Look at them in that table. They're doing incredible.
They ended up in League One, didn't
Exactly, League One, the Championship, up to the top flight. John McGlynn's a brilliant guy, great manager, brilliant coach. But honestly, if you've not seen it before, I was advised, if I saw it, it was like a Tuesday night, I went into the radio that Saturday, says, listen, somebody had mentioned something about a movie, or it might have been the run-up to the Oscars. I says, if you want a proper blockbuster to watch, 90 minutes, get the popcorn out and watch the big Falkirk fans meeting for the Enshire Grange. It is still online. You'll not be able to take your eyes off it.
Seriously?
Honestly, you're out. You're out. It's like chills you've got watching it.
I know that obviously like Celtic and Rangers fans and Hearts and Hibs and all that are very passionate about their clubs, but see the wee provincial teams, you'll never find a more vociferous fan base.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, they're so passionate.
See, getting back to what I was saying there about the vote, right? There was.
Where did you get that for your phone? I could do with one of them. A wee ramp.
I just got it off of Amazon, I think it was.
Right, okay.
I was talking to my mates, right? I says basically the vote was done behind closed doors, wasn't done in any cameras. There was no cameras or anything like that, right? But Tom, one of the questions was a vote for a 3 to 5 year financial and football review. Right? And that gets shouted down by 99% of voters.
Right, okay. Aye.
There is not one Celtic supporting football fan that would have voted against it.
Aye.
You know, and I understand obviously the shares, the people that have got all the shares, they've got all the power and stuff like that, but
that's where it's crap, isn't it? I mean, they'll just casually, it's a PLC, remember, and we've got shareholders there, you know what I mean? And that's unlike now, so many clubs, including mine, of course, fan owned. Now I know myself, that's a bit, it's, you know, it's like, you know, you're always going to, we might have the Well Society and we might have a representative on the executive board, but you just know they're always going to be calling the shots. They've always got the power. And again, if we're fan owned, that means that I am a part owner of Motherwell Football Club. But see, if we were hiring or firing or we were doing any
you're not getting
refurbishments,
asked.
I've never been asked yet. No. What do you think, Tam? You're one of our owners. So it's a wee bit disingenuous, I've always thought, you know, but I'm totally 100% for it.
Aye, but it's just like, it's disheartening, Tam, because you understand that alright, Celtic are a very well run club financially.
Aye.
Right, very well run club financially, but there's only so you can. Hugh even says it best. You can't go around parading a fucking balance sheet.
No, I know. Aye.
You know what I mean? You don't walk around the stadium at the end of the season holding up your fucking.
And you know what?
balance sheet.
Fans in their heart of hearts don't care. But see the way modern football is, we seem to know, not even at your own club now, all the clubs, who the chief executive is, who the sporting director is, who's the CEO, right? Once upon a time, you could have asked Motherwell fans, when I started going to Motherwell games, you could have asked them, what's the name of the Motherwell chairman? Oh, I don't know, it's that wee old guy, isn't it? You know, nobody knew, nobody cared. It's all about what's on the park, and that is the way it should be. But
I think it's because you've got access to so much more information now, like
I know,
the advent of the internet and all of that stuff.
absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
It's a pain in the arse, but you know what? We're coming to a point in the season where, you know, it's either shit or get off the pan. You know, you're coming to January, and if they don't spend that money in January with a new manager in place,
I know.
the
only thing I'd say though, Chris, that, and I've said this quite a bit recently, if even the realisation, the stark reality for Celtic fans is, see if the board had wobbled at that AGM and says, right guys, you know what, we've got 100 million in the bank, here's what we're going to do, we're going to spend 50 million on 2 players, there's the money away, right? The way all other European teams are buying players, you know, they 2 players is not going to, I don't think, allow Celtic to make any great inroads in Europe.
No,
so
I would rather
have
have
a deep blue sea.
I would rather have 10 5 million players than 2 25
But if it was
million
if Celtic did spend all that money, if you looked at the big Venn diagram, you'd still have domestic football there, you'd have European football there, and Celtic would be in the middle.
And that's why I never complain about it, because see when we go like that, oh, it's not an even playing field, all these teams have got these TV deals and stuff like that. And then I've said this 100 times before, but you can't then complain about domestic football when you've got 100 times more than any other team that's coming in.
No, I know.
That's what it is. But fancy a holiday?
I always fancy a holiday, aye.
Well, I can tell you, if you get yourself onto CBDOilScotland.com, make any purchase at all, enter the code APATS, you'll get free delivery.
Are you scamming me here?
Well,
if I even answer you here, is all my...
Just enter your PIN number. You get free delivery. You get 50% off your order, and you get entered into a competition to go away to Tenerife for a week.
Tenerife.
All expenses, all inclusive.
All right.
For you and a friend. So
a friend?
Well,
I'm married. I'm not allowed to take a friend on holiday.
Well, what if it's a wee tiny male friend?
Well, there you go.
There we go. Let's set it up. So can we rig this draw, Grant?
Can give it a bash.
Right, we'll try our
that
best.
sounds great. Tenerife, me and you.
Tenerife, let's
I
do
love
it.
Tenerife. You've been a few
Sure,
times.
we could get a couple of gigs out there.
That'd be great out there, just up Las Americas, which I used to shy away for years ago. It was a bit rough, a bit rowdy.
I was always a Los Cristianos guy.
Aye, I was Costa Deque.
Oh, Costa Deque.
And that was quite classy and quite quiet or not. But Las America, we did the summer there. And beautiful now. What a beautiful place. High-end shops, restaurants, everything. It's not all rough as it used to be. But right, let's go.
Right, we're up for it. So you get yourself onto CBDOilScotland.com. If you tell me this, right?
I'm not riding you.
We're men.
Is that all right?
We're men of a certain vintage.
Yes.
Right, you're 56, you said?
56. What
Right,
you?
I'm 43.
Right.
You start to get a wee bit sore. You know what I mean? Pains and aches and pains coming into the winter. Do you find that?
Not really yet. No. I'm sitting here the new
See, for the case of this, just go along with it,
Right,
all right?
okay,
So
right.
do you get any pains or anything?
Well, funnily you mentioned that, because the pain I've got now, and it's quite literally a pain in the arse. I've got a pile.
Have you? A wee farmer jail?
I've never had it. It's just one. A wee Jeremy Kyle, and it's only one. The ointment is working wonders, But it's incredible. And but the thing was, I always wear glasses. I wanted to go at contact lenses and opticians, but I hate it putting my finger in my eye.
Aye.
So let's just say when they give you the ointment, I've got much the same feelings. But I must say, after 3 days in the ointment, you learn to enjoy it.
A great line for The Sopranos.
Right.
Was Tony went to his psychiatrist and she says, have you ever thought of going and getting a rectal exam? And he goes,
Yes.
well, I don't even let people wag their finger in my face.
Aye. But so I've been doing a bit of that lately, but so it's reducing. When originally, you know how you feel something like that because I've never had one.
Aye.
And I thought, what the fuck's what's that?
Aye.
And it felt like that fucking boulder that chased Harrison Ford, right? And Indiana Jones. That's your mind plays tricks, but it's reducing.
Aye.
The ointment that I got is superb.
That's a game. But it's, if you've ever got any sort of muscular pain or joint pain or anything like that, get yourself on there. They've got a range of products on there that are in a shit. You know, have you got a dog?
Yes, a wee dog, wee Maltese.
Scared of fireworks?
No, oblivious to them.
Really?
Strangest thing ever.
Well, we do. They do a product called Canimal, which is a CBD oil for pets.
Right.
And see if I didn't have it over the fireworks time. I genuinely get worried that my dog's going to have a heart attack.
Oh,
No
you see
kidding
some
on.
of the videos,
Aye.
and I could never claim to have been a big animal lover. There was one thing that went to court 20 years ago, but we'll let that go. But when we did get a dog, first dog I'd ever had, you just change like
Aye,
that.
it's weird,
and see
isn't
when
it?
I watch some of the poor dogs, folk put them up, they're gone like a bloody battery.
I know.
Poor wee things because of these arseholes with fireworks. I would make them out. I would bring in a law that, and I'm not wanting to kill people's fun, but I would bring in a law that fireworks can only be lit on November the 5th.
Aye, and they can,
And
they
I
can
think
only
even
be
the pet
sold.
owners would go along with that.
Aye,
Right?
I'd agree with that. But so, like I says, we've got that on there, which, honest to God, calms the dogs down so good. But it's if you've got any aches or pains yourself, lots of products on there, and I'm shit you not, Tam, right? Like that.
Right.
Takes
and
the pain
it works
away.
for hemorrhoids.
Well, I don't know. I've never had a
Well,
hemorrhoid.
I'll give it a bash.
Well, get a bash,
That's
but
fine.
I wouldn't rub the lotion on it on the hemorrhoids.
It's
Keep that.
amazing when you find up what you can find up there though when you're putting ointment
When
on.
you have a rummage.
Well, I found it was a full dry roasted peanut that I found this morning, and it's amazing how the things keep their flavour.
Fuck's sake. Moving on. If you've
What do you mean moving on? We've been for about 4 hours. I thought you were
well,
going
this is just the last advert.
Oh,
and then
it's
we'll
an
wrap it
advert,
up.
right? Is it? Oh, great.
Wrap it up, right? So,
I didn't know it was advertising stuff here.
well, it's
That's
it's
brilliant.
on the front of your jersey. If you wear a
Right,
Motherwell top, then you're advertising this
G4
company
Claims,
as well.
a brilliant sponsor of Motherwell, yes.
There we go. So if you've been in an accident, it's not been your fault, get in touch with G4 Claims. They will help you from start to finish. They will not take a penny of your claim either. Get in touch with Nicole and the girls on the website, which is notatfaultclaim.com. You can reach them through WhatsApp as well, or you can phone them like the good old-fashioned way by calling them on 01698 767 172. That is 01698 767 172. G4 Claims, Not at Fault Claims, made easy.
Yes, there you go. If
There
you've
we
been in
go.
an accident, it's not your fault. So if my pal Gary Hollywood was watching, he was in Mrs. Brown's Boys,
Well-
he might be able to get a claim in for that.
Funnily enough, that leads me on to what I was going to tell you at the end there.
Oh, was it?
Yes, I hosted a night with Mrs. Brown's Boys last Friday.
Right.
And
It
Mood-
was
and Moody'sburn.
Airdrie.
And Moody'sburn.
Moody'sburn. Aye, I
And
saw
you know,
it advertised.
They've never done it before. They've never done a
Q&A kind of thing.
stage show.
And it was what? Brendan O'Carroll.
Brendan O'Carroll,
and
his missus Jennifer Gibley,
And the boy that plays the
Danny.
Dafty.
That's actually Brendan's son, Danny
aye.
O'Carroll. And do you know what? They were lovely people. They
Aye.
were
Oh no,
really,
we had
really
them in the
nice
show.
people.
They were brilliant as well.
Aye, fantastic.
And as much, you know what, I even feel bad saying that, but because I remember a few years ago writing a column in defence of Mrs. Brown's Boys because far too easy to slag. Everybody was doing it. Now the bottom line is they were getting mega millions of viewers. So how dare you have a go at the general public? If they want to watch it, they'll watch it. They'll
Exactly.
clearly enjoy it. The other thing as well is talk about working hard at your craft. Brendan O'Carroll, a wee bit like there was a famous thing years and years and years ago with the great Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers in vaudeville, they would basically do what became the scripts for their films. They would do them on stage for maybe like a year, run all the theatres in America before they then went into the studios and filmed them for one of their movies, right? They were meticulous. Brendan O'Carroll for years in Ireland, and then of course he was a triumph at the, we keep going back to the pavilion, but the pavilion, he sold that out every single time, year after year after year, and then someday in their wisdom finally thought, you know, this could work as a sitcom in the BBC.
Aye.
And it went like that. So I've got a great respect for them, but
Well,
there's certain things that it's a bit like supporting Motherwell. I love Motherwell, but you've got to slag them.
Aye, well, you know what, like you say, it's easy to slag them, but I kind of think that they're flying the flag for anti-cancel culture. You know what I mean?
Aye.
They're sticking
Yeah.
to their old style comedy,
Yeah.
unapologetic about it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's something that a lot of people could maybe learn for a wee bit.
Aye.
So what have you got planned for this weekend?
This weekend, Motherwell Hearts, of course.
Yes.
It's huge. Hearts will pack out. The South Stand, the Tommy McLean Stand will be rammed. So it'll be a great atmosphere. Our crowds are going up and up and up.
It's mental what happens when you put an attractive product on the park.
Exactly. What a simple thing to do. Put some decent football in the park and the punters will come. So I think we could be. I would love to think if we could break the 5-figure barrier, if we could get into 10,000 on Saturday, and there's every chance because the Christmassy stuff hasn't kicked in yet, so folk have not got other distractions yet. It's 3 o'clock.
Somebody wants
on
to
a
tell the crowd that
Saturday.
Ibrox in.
Well, 3 o'clock on a Saturday, and it's two teams that are, you know, they've been on fire.
Aye,
so,
I know,
I'll tell you the other thing as well, as disappointing as it was to concede the 3-goal lead at Tynecastle, anybody that was at that game, anybody that watched the highlights, even anybody that just remembers the details, you'll be wanting to get your arse along to Fir Park on Saturday.
Be a good game, definitely. So it's a 3 o'clock kick-off on a Saturday, which is a fucking dying act, isn't it?
For the Celtic, you know what? You've got so much going for you down through the years, and you get the lion's share of this, and you get most of the money for that, and you've got the voting rights all carved up between Celtic and Rangers, and it's been the same for years and years and years. But the one thing that I could not stand as a Celtic or a Rangers fan is the games, and particularly the away games, of course, just constantly being shifted. You know, and I always think when folk buy season tickets in good faith, you never know. Once upon it, when I go back to when I was 10 and I got my season ticket, I knew that ticket would get me into every home game at Fir Park at 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Mind back in the day, you would get the reserve games and all on the
Thursday
season
night
ticket.
used to be. Motherwell did a lot of them, or maybe even the Saturday afternoon at the same time. And if Motherwell were, let's say, up at Pittodrie, the Aberdeen reserves would be doing it at Fir Park.
Well, that's right. Remember the year when the Celtic and Rangers game got postponed, and everybody they all just went to the reserves game.
Aye, big crowd.
Mad. But it's we've got Motherwell versus Hearts. We've got Dundee versus St Mirren.
Oh, that's a biggie, because I'll tell you what, the pressure is on Stephen Presley and St Mirren. That was a right sore. They've had nothing but a bad run with VAR, the refs and all that.
I know,
and
what,
they
96 minute.
They could be dealing with a couple of results before they get to play Celtic in the League Cup final. So that's a tasty one. Something's got to give there.
Yeah, you've got Kilmarnock and Dundee United. Another one that's in a sugary peg, I would say.
Well, after, Dundee United absolutely pumped at home by Falkirk last week. So Jim Goodwin will be under a wee bit of pee. But Stuart Kettlewell, if they lose this one and at home again, that would be 7 defeats on the bounce.
But the thing is, see, before that run started, they were third in the league.
I know.
It's mad,
That's
isn't
what I
it?
say. It's been madness all over the league this year.
You've got Rangers against a Falkirk side that are going well now, man.
Yep.
And like you say, McGlynn's got them playing attractive football as well.
Absolutely.
So
that's not an easy one at all for Rangers, who are back in a good run, of course. But no, Falkirk scored first there. I don't see them getting anything less than a draw.
That's a bold statement. And then you've got Livingston versus Aberdeen.
And again, Aberdeen coming back a wee bit of form. They're obviously playing Noah tonight.
So they are.
Where's Noah, Faye? You're the European football man.
I know.
I don't even know.
It was mental when he drew up in his big giant boat.
I know, but it's the right weather for it, isn't it? But I've no idea where they're even from. But Aberdeen certainly in the league, it seems that, and I'll tell you what, good on them. How many opportunities must they have had to punt the manager? but they seem to have, and they're good on the Aberdeen fans, they've bought into the fact that they think this is a project.
Aye, I like that. And
know?
I've said it for years and years and years. I think they're always too quick to pull the trigger on a manager. Always too quick.
Aye.
And I use Arsenal as an example.
Right.
Crossbar every year. Crossbar.
Yeah.
This year, I think they're going to win the
Well, I
Champions
think
League.
the example, and you need to go back 40 plus years now, it's Sir Alex Ferguson.
Aye.
You know, he was literally
One
nearly
game
out
off.
the door.
One game off,
And
wasn't it?
think what happened next.
Exactly.
So,
if they hadn't
aye.
won the FA Cup that year, it was
I know.
Crystal Palace or Sheffield Wednesday, was it?
Crystal Palace.
And
Aye.
did it go to 2
That was
replays
a
as well or
semi-final.
something?
One of them finished 3 each, I'm sure.
Aye, and Ian Wright scored for that was a good Crystal Palace.
But
side,
you know
I
what? Incredible. But you know what? We're awfully two-faced, and football fans were all fickle because, you know, give the manager time. How many times have Bathurst for our own teams? How many times have been in Rowan? Get him to,
Well,
you know.
listen,
we've all done it.
Tam, I'll tell you this now. With Nancy coming in the door, the same with any other Celtic manager, he will get my full support until we give away a throw-in.
Aye. I know we're so we're all two faced, but Livy Aberdeen, just to finish that one. You know, I feel so. I love Davy Martindale. And there was a wee time I thought he could have got a chance with the Motherwell job when it came up. I'd like to see what Davy Martindale could do with a club that's got any sort of money at all, because he's had Bathon's tied behind his back ever since he
100%.
started that job, you know, and he's kind of worked wonders, you know. But the penalty that wasn't, and you compare it again to the one that we did get at Firth Park against Hibs, when one of these whiz kids that can put up all the things online, when you compare and contrast, when they ran the two of them together at the same speed at the same moment, they were almost identical. And we were lucky. We got our penalty.
The one thing I will say is, right, see if you go back to the Hearts and Rangers game at Ibrox,
Yeah.
that handball was identical to Shankland's in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a wee bit of consistency there, and you can tell that it does take the slightest of nicks off. Was it Fernandes?
Aye.
It takes the slightest of nicks off his thigh and then hits his hand. And rules of the game, it's not a penalty.
Oh, I know.
But you've seen them given 100 times. I mean,
know,
look at the Ralston one in the semi-final.
I keep saying, of course, but what I keep saying is, Chris, and I stand by this, and I think it's a right to at least ask for it. We keep talking about season tickets in the show today, but I think the SFA, the SPFL, let's get the two of them together, they should basically hold a census of every season ticket holder in Scotland and say, you all get one vote each. VAR, are we keeping it or kicking it out? I think that would be fair, because I know it's only going to go one way, you know.
I know, but it's...
And I know what's going to happen. The minute it gets kicked out, it'll be Celtic against Rangers in a league decider the next day, and a ball come off the bar and go 3 feet out of the goals, like Frank Lampard's famous one, and the nuclear bomb will go off.
Well, that's it.
But tough.
I think it's a necessary evil, but I think it should be used a lot less.
Aye, I know. They started, it was, what was the phrase they kept bandying about? A clear and obvious error.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Did you see the Liverpool one against Real Madrid at the end, at the edge of the box?
No.
One at the edge of the box, Liverpool got a penalty for it.
Right.
Right. Sorry, a free kick for it. No, a penalty for it. Right. And then they went to VAR. And by the way, it took a good 7 minutes or something.
I know.
Right.
I know.
But it proved that A, it was outside the box.
Yeah.
And B, it wasn't a handball because it had hit the... And see, when it's used properly,
When it's used properly.
it's brilliant.
And you know what? See, when it's used properly, and dare I say it, because everybody says it's not the technology, it's the folk operating it. And where I'd back that up, that last Scotland double header, Greece and Denmark, I'd almost to remind people that yes, they had VAR in the
Aye,
games
'cause they never
because
used it.
whoever was using it. When they did have to use it, and it was rarely, it was like that.
Well,
there wasn't
that-
any of these big long delays.
Do you remember the last Euros?
Yeah.
The VAR in the Euros was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
amazing, and it's automated.
Yeah.
So they've got the automated offside, which means that it's done and dusted within
Aye. And
seconds.
see, by the same token, that the old phrase pre-VAR, the VAR, they used to always say was, if you didn't spot the referee in the game, that meant he was really good. right? You get through the game without drawing attention to himself. They let the game flow and all that. And for me, that was like VAR and that Scotland double header. Didn't even notice it.
No.
And even at the point, genuine lad folk saying, did they not use VAR in games?
Did Denmark not get a penalty?
Well, aye, well, exactly. But and again, if you looked at it and foot on the line and all, then clear and obvious, because if the challenge is and the foot's on the line, it's at the box, it's a penalty. So that, albeit happened against us, but we can laugh about it now, it didn't matter. But yeah, that's almost precise. That's a textbook example of what VAR should be for. But some of the stuff that they're now analysing and over-analysing, it's frankly ridiculous. And I keep going back to the fact that when my mucker Cosgrove and his team St Johnstone get relegated last year, I know he was always going to try and put a positive spin on it anyhow, but the day that they get relegated, we went on the radio the week after and he said, great, no VAR next season, because of course they don't have it in the Championship, and he was genuinely pleased about that.
Aye.
And it just, when you watch the Friday night games on the BBC, they're kind of the only Championship action I really see. I love watching it anyhow, but you just think, great, no VAR.
I remember when it was Aberdeen versus, what was the wee team?
Darvel.
Aye, there was no
yes.
VAR there, and it was
that's
just
right.
blood and thunder, and they were
No
kicking
VAR,
lumps
they
out
barely
each
had
other.
crossbars.
I know.
Have you been to
They had
Darvel?
ran out of paint for the corners. But listen, Tam, thanks very much for coming on.
No,
You've
it's been a
really,
pleasure.
you've really got me out
Well,
of
they
the hole
two
here.
wankers have been throwing sweeties at Wayne's in the front 3 rows of the pavilion.
Shooting water fucking pistols at folk.
You can't throw sweeties now, of course.
No, you can't.
Health and safety.
Correct.
That could take an eye out.
Or get lodged in some poor child's throat.
Oh, I know.
And if that's ever happened to you, put something in the comments, like the video and share, and we will see you next week, hopefully with a full lineup. Catch you later, troops.